and I'd like to introduce to you today a gourd project and also a paper mache type project that's I call Pumpkin Holler. And this is part one of it, and this is actually a private type of a session because my students want to do this before they start my class. They have to get some things done ahead of time. So really, it's not for the general public, but if you'd like to look at it and get some ideas, you're welcome to do so. So this is Pumpkin Holler, and if you can see, it's this is a gourd. Oops, let's take that piece of paper off of it. Anyway, so this is made of a gourd, and it's texturized. This was also done with a gourd. But if people who are going to be my students don't want to do a gourd or don't have a gourd, or you're looking at this in the general public, you can do this with a paper mache pumpkin shell that you can get at Michael's or Joann's, and then you just add it. You just add it to it. So there it is. This is what this YouTube is going to be about. And let's get started. Okay, now let's see what the materials you're going to need, and then we're going to start you on what you have to do. And remember, you need to do this hopefully 4 to 5 days before you start. We're going to start the second part of the project because it has to be totally dry. So that's why we're doing this on a YouTube, so you can get this part done if you're not coming into my studio to do it, if you're doing it at home. Okay, so you have some choices. The choices are, you can get a gourd, and this is a gourd, and you can sort of see them up here. You know what a gourd is. And so those of you who know gourds, you know already what they are, and this is not a class about gourds. And then so what you need to do is get your gourd. You need to clean it, and I mean really clean it inside, so it's nice and clean like this one. And you can get you can either come to my studio and get the fluorescent on the second day we do this. You don't have to do it at home, but we do spray it, but that can be done later. But you have to really clean it. You have to make this nice hole, and you have to cut your face. So basically what you would do is just draw it on, and then you use a jigsaw or something that you know to cut it. So this is not a class on gourds, cleaning, or cutting. So if you pick a gourd, you should already know that part of it. So this is really not for a beginner that way. If you don't want to do a gourd, here's your other choice. Joann's and Michael's are selling now that it's going to be Halloween. These paper mache kind of guys, see it? Here's another one. And they're wonderful. They're very light, and you can do it on this. You can also, you know the styrofoam ones that they sell? Now those are kind of expensive, so you can catch them on sale, or maybe you have an old one at home and you want to work with that. You can cut a hole and make a face on those. They're wonderful to work with. I just don't have one here for you to see. So those styrofoam ones are good. You can get a gourd that we can clean out, and you can do it. And those of you who understand gourds know which one. Kind of get the shape you want, get it cleaned out, and just cut your face out. And that's what you need to do at that point. If you're going to do this one, this is kind of what I did. Can you see I've kind of drawn a face on them? And that's going to have to be cut out. And you can cut that out with a jigsaw. You can find, you know how to cut them. So that's what you're going to want to do. Okay, I'm going to Dremel this one, and I'm using this kind of a sort of a now you got to be careful because you don't want to set this on fire, but see? As you go, if you want to put another There you go. I've done more of it, you can see, but look at how rough it is. You don't care. So what you can do is you can just go in here, back on, and I can begin to just kind of make it look a little bit better, take off some of this. But even if it's scaggy, it's okay. But I'm going to go in here, I'm going to clean it up a little bit. And then where you don't have a tooth, kind of go like this and make it look like where the tooths are missing, see? You can go in and do that. Yeah, kind of make like a missing tooth area. So it's a jagged kind of a... bring that gum line down a little bit, see? So he has a missing tooth area, kind of like. So it's not just a straight line, kind of. Yeah, you want to make it kind of, you know. And then, but you're not going to have it smooth. You're just not. See, it's going to be kind of. And then decide if you want to do anything with that eye. You can put a nose in if you want, but I'm going to put a different kind of nose in. But you can certainly just put a nose. That's up to you. You decide. You're going to be paper macheing on this, so it's not going to be so bad. And if you need to clean it up a little bit, just put your Dremel on again and just clean it up. But there you go. Now I want to show you something over here. I kind of made kind of a mess of this one because I was doing it with an X-Acto knife, and it was kind of a dull one. But I want to show you something. This looks like pretty bad because look, if this even broke, this doesn't have to be thrown away. You're going to paper mache it. It doesn't matter. So just, you know, I can just take it. I can go in here. I can clean it up. Like that. If you made a really terrible, horrible thing of it, which I've always been able to fix, you can paper mache over that and you can do the back. So there's no way that you really ruin this. So just make it up and you'll see me work on this. The other thing you want to do is you want to make a hole in the bottom. That's going to fit one of those little, you know, little flickering candles because you can't put a real candle in it. So you just want to come in here. Or cut it with a X-Acto knife. And you can draw your circle. If you want it to be exact, I don't really care. You just do that. Okay. Now we're going to start with the paper mache and the texturizing that you see on the pumpkin. This is the part that has to dry. There is no recipe. I'm not going to give you a recipe because you really can't go wrong. Now the thing that you're going to have to buy, and you can get this online, or you could, I don't know if they have small amounts at Michael's, Celluclay. Celluclay. Can you see that? I got this on Amazon. You don't have to get quite as big a bag. They sell a smaller amount at Michael's, I believe. but you do need this. You can't make up your own. It won't work. This is what you have to have. So this is an absolute. I mean, there may be a competitive brand, which I guess is okay. So what you're going to do, if you're going to do maybe, I'm thinking this size or maybe this, I'm saying 1, you can always make more, 2, 3 to start off with, because of course you can make more. You don't want it to dry out. So that's how much I have in there. You're going to put some salt because that sort of stops it from mildewing or having any problems with it. It doesn't matter how much. If you really need to know, maybe 1/4 cup of salt. I don't know, but just watch me. See, you're just putting in some salt. Doesn't matter, it's not critical. Then you want to put just the cheapest of this glue, Elmer's glue, school glue, whatever it is, the white stuff like this. So you want to just, doesn't matter if you didn't use it at all, if you don't have any, it's not the end of the world. I think it just makes a better paper mache product. So just pour, I'm going to say I'm pouring in here 1/2 cup. Okay, if you really want to measure it, but you don't really have to. I'm kind of at the bottom of this so you can kind of see. I'm just kind of giving it, so yeah, it's going to have something in there to glue it in. So that's maybe 1/2 cup. It wouldn't matter if you did more or less, it's just not going to matter. I've seen recipes online. You certainly are welcome to look at them online. It does not matter. I have even added some cornstarch, so it's kind of up to you. So I've got that. Now the water, again, there's no amount. You want it to be the consistency that you want to work with, and you'll learn. So first I'm going to put, and remember, if I put too much water in, what am I going to do? I'm going to reach in my bag and I'm going to put more of the paper mache product, or what you, like you're making bread, ladies, or something. So if you can see, I'm just doing this. And you'll learn after a while how much you need. This, I started with 2 cups in here just to let you know how much water I started off with. So we had 3 big handfuls of the celluclay. We have 2 cups of water. We had maybe 1/4 cup of salt, maybe 1/2 cup of the Elmer's glue if you want it. Less, it won't matter if those of you need a recipe. Now see, I've gotten I've used 1 cup of water so far. So really want to make sure that you get all the pockets of the, just like you do when you're doing flour and you're making a cake mix. You don't want to leave any amount of the powder not mixed in, because it's gonna, it'll make this thing fall apart. So really spend some time. Now I'm feeling that needs a little bit more. So 1 1/3 is what I've used so far. Now that's nice. See, it's a little bit wetter. There it is. I kind of like it at that consistency. It's a little bit too dry, then it's going to start to fall apart too soon. If it's too wet, it's going to take forever to dry. So that's kind of about it. But there's no errors here, okay? There's no making any errors here. Okay, so let me start with this one just because it's the raggediest. So let's just see how it goes. Okay, so I want you to notice here, if you look at this, it needs to be very high, very up from the surface, because you're going to be adding layers. If you don't, it'll disappear into the pumpkin. So really make sure we're bold here.